Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing well. So by now you should be able to build an iPhone app with navigation controllers and table views using Interface Builder. We'll further enhance the Cafegram app and improve the detail view, okay? But before that, I have to introduce you the basics of object-oriented programming. That's not a new kind of programming language, but rather a programming concept, okay? I want to keep things simple and show you how to create an app. I don't want to scare you away from building apps just because of a technical term or concept. Having said that, I think it's time to discuss OOP, okay? I believe you're determined to learn iOS programming and you want to take your programming skills to the next level, okay? So if you're ready now, let's get started. Okay, in the Cafe Table View Controller class, we created multiple arrays to store the names, types, locations, and images of the cafes, okay? This data, including name, type, location, and image, are all related to a cafe. Have you ever wondered if we can group this data together? In object-oriented programming, this data can be characterized as the properties of one cafe, okay, of a cafe. Therefore, instead of storing this data in separate arrays here, we can create a cafe class to represent a cafe and store multiple cafes in an array of cafe objects, okay? So now we are going to create the cafe class and convert the data into cafe objects, okay? So first we'll start with the cafe class, okay? In the project navigator, right click on the Cafegram folder, okay? And select new file. Then choose the Swift file template under source and click next, okay? Name the file cafe.swift and save it in the project folder. Once completed, define the cafe class in the cafe.swift file using the below code. Class like this. Okay, we don't need that. And now we are going to inform about the different variable, okay? So the first one is name, it's a string, then type, which is also a string, location, image, and finally is visited, okay, like this, and it's a boolean. Once we have created the variable, we have to create the initializer, okay, like this. So name string, and now we are going to connect those variables with these parameters, okay, like this. So first one, self dot name is equal to name here, okay, then self dot type equal type, self dot location is equal to location, image is equal to image, okay, and finally cool. Okay, so we use the class keyword here to define a class. The code above defines a cafe class with 5 properties including name, type, location, image, and is visited. Except for is visited, which is a boolean, the rest of the properties are the type of string. Okay, you can either set a default value or explicitly specify the type for each property. Initialization is the process of preparing an instance of a class. Okay, when you create an object, the initializer is code for setting an initial value for each stored property on that instance and performing any extra setup before the instance is ready to use. You use the init keyword here to define an initializer. Okay, so convenience init like this, here empty, and here self.init like this. Our initializer has 5 parameters. Each of them is given a name and explicitly specified with a type. Okay, in the initializer, it initializes the values of the property with the given values. Other than designated initializer, Swift allows you to define some convenience initializer. Okay, it's completely optional, as the name suggests. It's for convenience purpose. Without the convenience initializer, you can initialize an empty restaurant like this. Okay, but with the convenience initializer, you just have to write that. Okay, so it saves you time from typing all the initialization parameters every time you need to initialize an empty cafe object. Okay, cool. So you may wonder, what's the self keyword in the designated initializer? Here in Swift, we use self to differentiate between property names and arguments in initializers. Okay, because the arguments have the same name as the properties, we use the self keyword to refer to the property of the class. Okay, so now with the basic understanding of class and object initializations, let's go back to the cafegram project and combine the existing arrays into an array of cafe objects. Okay, so first delete the cafe related arrays from the cafe table view controller class here. Okay, instead of using the above array, replace them with a new array of cafe objects. Okay, like this. Once you replace the original arrays with the cafes array, you'll end up with a few errors in Xcode because some of the code still refers to the old arrays which have been removed. Okay, so to fix the errors, we have to modify the code to use the new cafes array. Okay, first update the number of rows in section method. Okay, here. So now it takes into account the cafes array. Okay, like this. I will let you copy this array, otherwise you will have the link to download the project, so you will be able to copy this array. Okay, we change the value here, and the error is gone. Here the same, because now it's the cafes array, and at the end we have to indicate which property we need. Okay, so here we need the name property. Okay, here same cafes, because that's the array that we use now. And finally location. Okay, like this, cafes type, and here also cafes and at the end here the image property. Okay, here cafes here is visited. Cool. And in the trailing method, instead of removing the object from each array, we are now only remove it from the cafes array. Okay, so just write cafe index path dot row. Okay, that's it. And then here we have to modify cafes also. Name. Okay. And you do this action for each error. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, cool. And here, okay. For the cafe detail view controller class, we are now just going to change this variable to cafe, okay, which will be a simple cafe. To be type of cafe like this, okay. And we can instantiate it with an empty cafe, okay, like this. Cool. And here we can say cafe dot image. Okay, cool. And finally the prepper, we are going to change the prepper method. As in the cafe detail view controller, the new variable is cafe. Just write cafe, and here just change it to cafe. Okay, cool. And now if I run my project, everything should be perfect. Okay, so it works like before, but as you can see, our code is cleaner than before. Okay, so we have refactored the code to use the new cafe class here. By combining multiple arrays into one, the code is now more readable. Okay, here. As we continue to build our app, we will create even more files in the project folder. Therefore, I want to take this chance to show you a technique to better organize our project. Okay, so let's first look at the project navigator here. All files you have created are placed at the top level of the cafegram folder. Okay, here. As we add more files, it will be getting more difficult to locate our desired file. To better organize your project files, Xcode provides a group feature that lets you organize the files by group folder. Okay, so there are a number of ways to group our files. We may group them by features or functions. One good practice is to group them by their responsibilities in MVC. Okay, say for view controllers, for example, they will be grouped under controller. Okay, model classes like cafe will be grouped under model. Okay, so I'm gonna show you right now. So new group, the first one will be controllers, for example. Okay, like this. and we're going to put into this folder our two controllers, okay, like this here. Then I'm going to create another file, another group for my view, okay, and it will be our cafe table view cell, okay, like this. And finally the model, okay, model will be my cafe. And as I close my folders, you can see the MVC concept, okay, appears. Cool. Also, I'm going to create another group, storyboard, okay. I'm going to put these two files, this one and this one, okay. And also I'm going to put this file under the info playlist file, okay. And now if I close all my folders, it's cleaner, okay. Even if we have moved around our files, we can still run the projects, okay, without any changes. As you can see, it works perfectly. Cool. And finally, other than project files, there are some best practice to better organizing the source code. Here I'm going to show you a powerful technique to organize your Swift code into useful, easy to read sections, okay? As you know, here those lines of code which begins with / are comments. Comments serve as a note to yourself or other developers if you're working in a team, providing extra information about the code, okay? The primary purpose is just to make your code more easy to understand, okay? You may have noticed that some comments have the / marker, okay? Here is an example. Table view data source. Mark is a special comment marker in Swift for organizing your code into easy to navigate sections, okay? Say for the cafe table view controller class, some of the methods are related to the UI table view data source protocol, and some are related to view controller lifecycle. We can then add the mark comment to separate them into two sections, okay? So here I'm going to write mark view controller life cycle, okay? Now when we click the jump bar on top of our editor window, we can see the methods are organized into different meaningful sections, okay? So here, navigation, table view data source, and view controller lifecycle, okay? So it's more readable. I haven't finished yet. I have this one too here. Delegate protocol, okay? And as you can see here, we have now our UI table view delegate protocol, okay? Congratulations if you made it this far. I hope you're not bored by this lesson. What I've covered is the basics of object-oriented programming, and I also showed you some techniques of organizing your code and project files, okay? But there are a lot more about the OOP concept, such as polymorphism, okay? And if you want to become a professional iOS developer, check out the references to learn more, okay? It will take you a lot of practices to truly pick up OOP. Anyhow, if you manage to finish this lesson, it's a very good start, okay? And in the next video, I will show you how to improve the detail view. Okay, guys? So that's all for today. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.